At that time, the city gates had not been closed, for people had not yet retired. The old prince and his sons were waiting with the Tang monk at the gauze drying pavilion when they suddenly found the courtyard littered with dead beasts, live hogs and sheep, and some fine jewels and clothing thrown down from midair. Then they heard the cry, "Master, we have returned in triumph." The prince gave thanks immediately, and Elder Tang was filled with delight. When the three young princes went to their knees, Sha Monk raised them and said, "Don't thank us yet. Let's take a look at what we have here." "Where do they all come from?" asked the old prince. "Those tigers, wolves, leopards, horses, deer, and mountain goats," said Pilgrim with a smile, "happen to be spirits who have become fiends. We succeeded in recovering our weapons and fought our way out of their door. The old monster is actually a golden-haired lion. Using a four-lights shovel, he fought with us till dusk before fleeing for his life toward the southeast. Instead of giving him pursuit, we eliminated his way of retreat by slaughtering all the rest of the fiends and bringing back these valuable belongings of his." The old prince was both delighted and alarmed by what he heard. He was delighted by the victory, but he was also alarmed by the possibility that the monster might return to exact vengeance. "Please do not worry, Your Highness," said Pilgrim. "I have considered the matter also, and I will take appropriate action. We will certainly clean up the whole affair for you before we depart, so that no harm will come to you afterward. When we went there this noon, we ran into a red-haired, blue-faced little monster on his way to deliver an invitation. This was what I saw written on the card. Tomorrow morning a banquet will be reverently prepared for you so that we may celebrate the fine festival of the muckrake. I pray that you will visit our mountain with your chariot and attendants. It will be our good fortune if you do not refuse. With profound gratitude, I submit this invitation to my venerable Grand Master, the ninefold Numina Primal Sage. The sender was identified as your grand disciple, Yellow Lion. When that monster spirit fled in defeat just now, he must have gone to his grandfather's place to talk. Tomorrow, they will certainly come looking for us to exact vengeance. We will then make a clean sweep of these monsters for you." The old prince thanked him and asked for the evening maigare to be served. After master and disciples had eaten, they retired, and we shall leave them for the moment. We tell you instead about the monster spirit, who headed southeast and did indeed flee to the Bamboo Knot Mountain. In that mountain was a cave dwelling with the name of Nine Bends Curvate Cave. The ninefold Numina Primal Sage living there was the grandfather of the monster spirit, whose legs that night never descended from the wind. By the time of the fifth watch, he arrived at the entrance of the cave and was admitted after knocking on the door. One little monster said to him, "Great King, Little Blueface arrived last night to deliver your invitation, and Venerable Father asked him to stay till this morning, so that he could go with him to attend your muckrake festival. How is it that you also have come at such an early hour to deliver another invitation in person?" "I don't know what to say," replied the monster spirit. "But there isn't going to be any festival." As he spoke, Little Blueface came out and said, "Great King, why are you here? Once Venerable Father Great King gets up, he'll go with me to attend your festival." The monster spirit, however, could only wave his hand nervously without uttering a word. In a little while, the old monster arose and summoned his visitor in. As the monster spirit abandoned his weapon and went to his knees, he could not stop the tears rolling down his cheeks. "Worthy grandchild," said the old monster, "you sent me an invitation yesterday, and I was about to go attend your festival this morning. Now you have even come in person. But why are you so sad and troubled?" Kowtowing, the monster spirit said, "Your grand disciple was taking a leisurely stroll the other night in the moonlight when he saw radiance flooding the sky over the Jade Flower District. When I hastened to investigate, I found 3 luminous weapons in the courtyard of the royal residence, a muckrake with 9 prongs dipped in gold, a treasure staff, and a golden hooped rod. After your grand disciple brought them back with magic, he wanted to have a fine festival of the muckrake. The little ones were told to purchase hogs, sheep, and various fruits to prepare a banquet for celebration and for the enjoyment of our grandfather. After I sent off Blueface yesterday to deliver the invitation to you, Child Freaky, whom I asked to go buy the hogs and sheep, returned herding a few animals. He brought a trader along, who came to collect some money we owed him, and insisted on being an observer of the festival. At first your grand disciple refused, for I feared that he might spread the news to the wrong person outside. Then he claimed he was hungry and asked for food. So I told him to go inside to eat. When they walked in and saw the weapons, they claimed they were theirs. Each of them, in fact, seized one of the weapons and then changed into his original form. One was a priest with a hairy face and a thunder god beak, one was a priest with a long snout and huge ears, and one was a priest with dark, gloomy complexion. Without regard for good or ill, they all shouted madly that they wanted to fight. Your humble grandson took up the 4 lights shovel quickly to oppose them, trying at the same time to find out who they were that they dared use such deception. They claimed that they were disciples of the Tang monk, who had been sent by the great Tang in the land of the East to go to the Western heaven. They were passing through the city and having their rescripts certified when they were detained by the young princes, who wanted to learn martial arts from them. Their 3 weapons were placed in the yard as models to be copied, and I stole them. That was the explanation for their angry attack on me. But I don't know the names of those 3 priests, who all seem very able. Your grandson alone could not withstand the 3 of them. So I fled in defeat to my grandfather, in hopes that you would take up arms to assist me and seize those monks to exact vengeance. That would be a great token of your love for your grandson." On hearing these words, the old monster reflected in silence for a while. With a chuckle, he said, "So, it's they. My worthy grandchild, you made a mistake when you got them involved. Do you know who they are, Grandmaster?" asked the monster spirit. "The one with a long snout and huge ears," said the old monster. "Happens to be Ju 8 Rules, and the one with dark, gloomy complexion is Sha Monk. These 2 are still all right. But the one who has a hairy face and a thunder god beak goes by the name of Pilgrim Sun. This person truly has vast magic powers. When he caused great disturbance in the Celestial Palace 500 years ago, not even 100,000 warriors from heaven could capture him. Moreover, he devotes himself to mischief-making. Whether it's ransacking a mountain or overturning an ocean, breaking down a cave or besieging a city, he's a real champion at creating troubles. How could you provoke him? All right, I'll go with you. I'll capture that fellow and those princes of Jade Flower as well, just to relieve your feelings." The monster spirit kowtowed to give thanks. Immediately the old monster summoned into his presence his various grandsons, Gibbon Lion, Snow Lion, Swanyi, Baze, Wildcat, and Elephant Baiter. Led by Yellow Lion, each of them took up a sharp weapon and mounted a gust of violent wind to reach the Leopard's Head Mountain. There they encountered the powerful odor of fire and smoke and heard the sound of weeping. When they looked more carefully, they found Freaky and Shifty sobbing and crying for their lord. "Are you the real Freaky child or the false Freaky child?" snapped the monster spirit as he walked up to them. The 2 fiends fell on their knees. As they kowtowed and tried to hold back their tears, the 2 fiends said, "How could we be false? Yesterday we took the money to go purchase hogs and sheep. When we got to the main road west of the mountain, we ran into a priest with a hairy face and a thunder god beak. He spat on us once and immediately our legs grew weak and our mouths clamped shut. We could neither talk nor walk. He pushed us over and searched out our silver. He took our tablets, too. Neither of us snapped out of our stupor until just now. When we got home, the smoke and fire had not yet died, but all our buildings had been burned out. Because we couldn't see our lord or any of the captains and officers, we stayed here and wept. How did this fire start anyway?" When he heard this, the monster spirit could not stop the tears gushing from his eyes. As he stamped the ground with both feet, he railed spitefully, "Baldy, you're so wicked. How could you do such a vicious thing? You have gutted my cave dwelling, burned my pretty lady to death, and robbed me of all my family and belongings. I'm so mad I could die. I'm so mad I could die. The old monster asked Gibbon Lion to drag him over and said to him, "Worthy grandchild, when things have reached this stage, getting mad won't do you any good. Let's conserve our vitality instead so that we may go seize those monks in the prefectural city." Refusing to stop his wailing, the monster spirit said, "Venerable father, that mountain home of mine wasn't built in a day. Now it's completely wrecked by that Baldpate. What do I have to live for?" He struggled up and would have rammed his head against a boulder to kill himself had not Snow Lion and Gibbon Lion stopped him with their earnest pleadings. After a while, they left the mountain and headed for the city. When their churning wind and looming fog drew near, the people outside all parts of the capital were so terrified that men and women alike fled into the city with scant regard for their homes or possessions. After they had entered, the gates were shut tightly. Meanwhile, someone had sped to the palace to cry, "Disaster! Disaster!" The princes and the Tang monk were just enjoying breakfast in the gauze drying pavilion when they heard this report. When they stepped out to inquire, the people said, "A large band of monster spirits are approaching the city, kicking up sand and stone and belching wind and fog. What shall we do?" exclaimed the old prince, horrified. "Relax, all of you," said Pilgrim, chuckling. "This must be the monster spirit from the Tiger's Mouth Cave who fled in defeat yesterday toward the southeast. Now he has banded together with that so-called ninefold Numina primal sage to come here. Let us brothers go out to meet them. Order the 4 gates closed and call up men to guard the city." The prince indeed gave the order for the city gates to be closed, and armed men were summoned to ascend the rampart. On the city tower the prince, together with his 3 sons and the Tang monk, made the roll call. Amid fluttering banners that blotted out the sun and cannon fire that filled the sky, Pilgrim and his 2 brothers left the city midway between cloud and fog to face their enemies. Thus it was that Affinity's lack had caused wise weapons loss, and stirred up the demons, their perverse foes. We do not know how this battle will turn out. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter.